Hey everybody, my name is William Bell, Executive Vice President of Products from phoenixNAP. I have Brandon McCoy here with me from Veeam. We're going to get started in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, just to get some last minute stragglers, you know, those guys that see the alert pop up on their screen and hit the snooze button. So we'll be right back with you in just a second and get going. All right, I wanted to take a minute to thank everybody for being on time. We actually didn't have many people join at all after the hour, so that's great. As I said before, my name is William Bell, Executive Vice President of Products for phoenixNAP. I've got Brandon McCoy on the line with me from Veeam, and today we're going to talk a little bit about security in a virtualization environment, and more specifically in a cloud environment. And really also touch base on how availability plays a key role in securing virtual workloads, especially in host cloud services. So we'll talk a little bit of on-prem, we'll talk a little bit of cloud, we'll talk a lot about Veeam and the capabilities that it has, and we'll talk, you know, about some really core problems that people face with security, especially as they look at cloud adoption, and just kind of move through the time. We'll have some time for questions at the end, so please don't hesitate to throw them out. All right, so little touch base on who phoenixNAP is. Hopefully some of you guys are new and new to us and to potentially some of the solutions that we offer. But we're an infrastructure as a service company. Our focus every single day is on infrastructure and building a diverse portfolio of infrastructure consumption options across the globe. It says 10 plus global data center locations there. We'll have 19 by the end of 2019. So, you know, really kind of moving that infrastructure closer to the consumer and trying to provide a true platform for infrastructure that you can consume various products and services from. And I think the key component of today's talk is our focus on security and availability is part of that messaging, as part of our service delivery. We're very excited to be partnered with Veeam. We've been a part of their cloud provider program since the very, very beginning, one of the first 5 providers. And then, you know, last year we won Rising Star Partner of the Year, and this year we were very happy to win an innovation award for our reseller portal that allows large resellers to come in and build out backup as a service offerings for their customers. So super proud to be partnered with them, great organization, and I'm sure some of you guys are here because you use them internally today. As I mentioned today, we've been systematically building infrastructure locations across the globe and delivering products and services that customers can consume with security and availability built into the foundation, the core of that platform. We interconnect all these locations to make everything really simple and easy for customers. And we're really focused on getting the data, getting the applications out to the edge, out to the place where the consumer can pick them up, And that's really one of our hallmark components of our platform, customers that really need that scale and that one provider to work with worldwide. And so I mentioned earlier, infrastructure is the name of the game for us. And today we're going to talk a lot about security and how it plays a very key role in the delivery of that infrastructure to customers. And hopefully it provides you guys some really cool insights as to what capabilities are available out there and maybe what you should be doing on-prem if you haven't really started that cloud journey and really moved to consuming cloud services. And hopefully a little bit of the in-between, right? How that works from a hybrid perspective. So today we look at cybersecurity threats, as part of our own threat research, as part of the delivery of security remediation for our customers. And the thing that just keeps coming up every single day is that I don't even know how they got 62% of organizations. That that means that out there, 38% of organizations actually have the right resources to handle complex cyber attacks. I argue that probably number is probably less, and at minimum, it's getting less in every single day, right? We see an absolute dearth of capability out there around information security. And often it's the last thing that companies address from a technical perspective. I think maybe you would or wouldn't be shocked at the number of organizations, the size of organizations out there that operate every single day without a CISO or even a single technical security analyst. It's kind of shocking, and I think it's led to the rise of the managed security services company. But I'll talk a little bit about MSSPs and how they're great for some businesses, and how they actually have their own challenges and visibility, especially in a cloud forward future. And today, when a lot of customers are looking to kind of go to the cloud, I mean, we all know it costs them just a boatload of money a year. Everybody sees the vulnerabilities that come through. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's life and death. I mean, I think a lot of you might have seen the WhatsApp vulnerabilities this morning, kind of announced this morning and last night. And that's a key example of how getting it wrong potentially led to people dying. And I think that's something that everybody should be very concerned about. So we look at other research. I think it's funny. It shouldn't be funny, but it is kind of funny that the amount of data that's sitting out there today, just in some random S3 bucket or some random data service, just ready for someone to type in a URL and hit the treasure trove. It's just shocking, I guess. But as you look at cloud security, it's important to understand that when you move your data to a cloud service, that not only are you responsible sometimes, and a lot of times, especially with public clouds, hyperscalers, for the logical security of that data, but a lot of times you're relying on the provider themselves to get it right. And it's something that you have to have confidence in and make sure that works. When you look at the struggles both on-prem and in the cloud that SOCs face as people that are specifically charged with looking at security events and incidents of compromise, visibility into the infrastructure security, especially in a cloud service, is just non-existent. I mean, I think that MSSPs that work inside of public cloud hyperscalers, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they can't see anything below the OS. There's absolutely no visibility for them whatsoever. And they're 100% beholden, like the customer, to the infrastructure provider. And even through Amazon and others' own services, they're not being very transparent about their infrastructure security. It's definitely just a trust us, we have it right mentality. And I think we've approached some of that differently in our secure cloud services, that kind of, change the game, not only both into in customer visibility, but also into looking at the people that are looking at threats, that are enriching threats that they potentially find to see how bad they are. A lot of times you're in a better spot if you can see the network, the application OS, and the infrastructure, because all of those are threat vectors. All of those areas are ways for data to be compromised and or incidents and issues to arise. And I think that's definitely a place that needs a lot of work, and a place that we've been focusing heavily. As you look at compliance, the standards get harder, they get more numerous. It just becomes kind of a big deal, and being able to help with that and provide help with that, is a big challenge for customers. And as you look at the security policies, specifically across cloud and on-prem, that might be the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? That might be the biggest gap in security today. The adoption of the cloud service without specific regard or structured control of the data. The security posture that you may have on-prem becomes decimated by the adoption of the cloud service. And that just shouldn't be the case. And that's something that we're very focused on every single day. Some of you guys may know this intimately. I assume, just typical based on our target marketing efforts and people like that a lot of you guys are working inside of IT environments, virtualized IT environments today. Everyone knows that a compromised host can lead to the compromise of the guest OSs. And so there's a lot of things you have to take a look at when you're delivering infrastructure as a service, or you're consuming infrastructure as a service from a provider. The other day I watched an hour-long B-Sides security video from some guys at Oracle, and the levels that they went to secure their bare metal cloud instances, is rare. It's rare, and we know for a fact that a lot of vendors don't put that level of care and effort into the security of the hypervisor that's running these critical virtual machines. And that's something we spend a lot of time on, right? We have a lot of conversations with Intel and others about how we can do that. When we look at this networking configuration, changes to the admin portal, making sure you have real logical segmentation of access, but not only between customers, but inside the provider, so that, one compromised credential can't affect, not only multiple virtual machines, but multiple organizations inside of a cloud service. And then this panacea of some sorts, this ability to live migrate workloads between on-prem to cloud, cloud to cloud, etc., can produce really difficult security challenges if that policy is not able to migrate with the workload. And those are all areas that we're putting a lot of time and effort into as we kind of build out our portfolio, and specifically a product that we call Data Security Cloud that's highly focused on data security and compliance. So we kind of start at the bottom, right? We look at the platform, we build everything by design, we harden the operating system, in this case, the hypervisor, and we put specific hardware enhancements in place to up the level of security on trust of that hypervisor host. And then we're delivering these next generation network isolation technologies like microsegmentation with VMware NSX, helping customers identify vulnerabilities, patch those vulnerabilities, and really kind of working with their teams to make sure they have modern authentication, access control inside of their environment, and kind of try to being that helping hand, right? Trying to get the gold standards, the hardened images to the customers, help them with their logging and performance management. And the most critical thing on this whole list is ensuring that the customer has regular backups and some type of disaster recovery plan, because we look at that as the absolute final frontier of data security, right? If specifically when you look at things like ransomware or data destruction as a security threat, the only thing that can save you is a backup, a protected backup that isn't accessible by the attacker. And that's something that we're kind of really hardcore focused on. So when we look at this and we wrap it all together, we built a solution called Data Security Cloud, built on VMware vSphere, latest generation Intel Xeon scalable processors, hardened hypervisor images, integrations with the hardware and the physical security of the host infrastructure, and delivering all that as a on-demand, pay-as-you-consume cloud service that truly helps small and medium-sized organizations transform their security posture. And that is our goal every single day. When we wake up in the morning, we're looking at Data Security Cloud as an offering. I'm focused on making sure that customers, are transforming their security posture through the consumption of a cloud service instead of being damaged by the consumption of the cloud service. And so we look at layering all of these components together to make sure that our customers are protected. And we look at the data availability kind of as that core component to ensuring complete data protection inside of a cloud service. So one last little touch here on some of the architecture components. I'm happy to go through this with anybody who wants to know more about what we're doing and talk about talk about the layers of security that we're able to help customers kind of put in place. But that red dot down there in the bottom right, that's the good stuff. That's your information, your intellectual property. These are the things that we have to try to work together to protect. And I think that is something that we're really heavily focused on with our partners and our end users, because it is everyone working together. It's guys like Veeam building great solutions for backup and disaster recovery, and other third-party partners of ours working together to build a common understanding of what secure data looks like. And we kind of get to this new level of trust, this built-in data protection, truly secure connectivity. You kind of wrap it all together to get an extremely low overhead, right? Not going out and hiring a $150,000 security guy to hopefully find something for you, right? Not going out and handing over the keys to an MSP that's going to just take over everything for you. We want to enable our customers to stay in control of the environment, and really kind of, at the end of the day, go home, peace of mind that everything's going to be okay when they wake up the next morning. And so I'm going to turn it over to my friend at Veeam, Brandon McCoy. He's going to talk to you guys a little bit about a lot of the enhancements that they've made. And just so everyone understands, we're leveraging all of these technologies that he's going to talk about today as part of our cloud service delivery models. So it is kind of a 1 + 1 = 3, I think, at the end of the day, to get a better outcome for everyone.
Thanks, William. I appreciate that. So, hello everyone and welcome. I'm Veeam. I'm Brandon McCoy with Veeam Software, cloud engineer. So I spend my days talking to managed service providers, and wanted to talk a little bit about Veeam, kind of looking at the numbers to start with, and then diving into a few of the products that kind of help MSPs. So if we look here, we see the numbers. 74% of Fortune 500 customers, 4,000 net new customers per month. But one of the most impressive numbers that stands out to me right here is Veeam's Net Promoter Score, which is 73, and that has doubled the leading industry average. And since I've been at Veeam, it's always been around that number. We have a very good success rate in terms of customer satisfaction and customers who want to recommend using this product to others. So. Now we kind of go from the numbers to Veeam's offerings, and what Veeam wants to do is, we have a lot of different solutions to different, because there's different kinds of environments, there's different kinds of platforms. We're thinking physical, virtual, all different kinds of operating systems. But Veeam doesn't want to just give you this, hosh-posh of all different kinds of products that you have to kind of manage individually. We want to present you a solution, and so we came up with this term, the Veeam Availability Platform, and for hybrid cloud, because we are moving to a more cloud model as data continues to change and the traditional data center continues to change. So if we look at the chart here, we start from the left, seeing private clouds, whether you're hosted in another facility or your own data center. Managed clouds, kind of a hybrid deployment, or public clouds like Azure, AWS, orchestration for all of these products, Internet of Things, SaaS offerings. You think Office 365. A lot of people are starting to realize that, hey, Microsoft doesn't really protect my data. They're just giving me a place to have my data and to use my data, but that data is still my responsibility. So MSPs can take advantage of Veeam's backup for Office 365 products, even phoenixNAP's data centers to send that data to, and have a place to store that. And then, of course, physical, Windows, Linux, Oracle, AIX, all these physical bare metal servers that are still around that we need to protect. And then in the middle of the chart here, we kind of see how we handle each one of these different offerings. So starting at the bottom, we have the universal APIs. This is going to be for your storage integrations, right? The NetApps, Nimbles, 3PARs of the world, being able to leverage storage snapshots and taking loads off of production hosts, right? We have the Veeam Data Labs. These are ways that you can sandbox in your environment. You can do testing of your backups by actually spinning them up on the spot without interfering with production, right? Getting things like VMware Tools heartbeat tests and application tests, ping tests. Also being able to sandbox machines with, the newest patches and updates and kind of testing out these machines, VM forensics, right, before we put those back into production. Backup and recovery is what Veeam is known for. Our flagship product being Veeam Backup and Replication, right? Backup for your recovery point objectives, being able to go back far in time in case some ransomware hits or a zero-day virus is found, maybe weeks later. And then replication for that business continuity, always on, being able to, click a button and fail over, maybe even into phoenixNAP's secure data centers. We have the cloud, the SaaS, the physical, and then visibility and monitoring into all those, right? We have Veeam One, which is a powerful monitoring and reporting tool that allows you to really dive deep into your environment, create whatever kind of customized auditing and compliance reports you need, anything you can think of, from production data stores, over provisioned VMs, backup repositories that are filling up too quickly, change block tracking rates, all that good stuff. There's another monitoring and reporting tool that we have, and if we could go to the next slide, please, we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. And so that's our Veeam Availability Console. We're now on version 3. This is a product for managed service providers to deploy and for customers and service providers to consume. So we have this console. It sits in a managed service provider's data center, or maybe even white labeled through another cloud provider. And a service provider is able to have remote monitoring of all of their customers. So you think of backups, your green, yellow, red check marks every day, right? Making sure everything is running smoothly, that you're meeting customer SLAs for how many days of backups you have, how far back can you restore from. We also have centralized management. So if you think about the Veeam agents, right, an agent by its very definition is installed on each operating system. So, if you had an environment that had 200 physical machines, you would need some way to centrally manage those, to centrally install those, instead of having to go to each machine one by one. The Veeam Availability Console is one of those ways in which you can push out the Veeam agents from a single pane, discover computers, make sure those computers are protected. It's also going to give you license reporting for usage and your monthly bills, invoicing, right? So whatever services consumed by the customer in Veeam terms can be, generating an invoice each month for that customer. And we also have some integration with some PSA and RMM tools. So ConnectWise Manage and ConnectWise Automate will be coming very soon. So just, being able to give you that single pane of glass. If we look at the console interface on the next slide, we kind of see that
I
there's
was going to jump in and say
sure.
that phoenixNAP's delivering Veeam Availability Console 3.0 as of last week. So definitely, as customers look at our Veeam powered cloud services specifically, they got to get this easy consumption model of VAC. And I like the fact that they can see their on-prem stuff and the cloud stuff in the same kind of console together. That's something that's super cool from my perspective.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, William, and I appreciate it. The Veeam Availability Console works off of Veeam's, cloud type software, right, where we provide a tunnel that goes from every customer in a multi-tenanted approach to the MSP or the cloud service provider. But even though it's, leveraging Cloud Connect is what we call it, that doesn't mean that we can't see local backup. So that's a great point. If we're looking here at the console interface from the left, we see an administrator portal and a client portal. So the administrator portal, that's going to be your managed service provider, your cloud service provider that's logging in. And pretty much in this case, they're the external extension of your IT department, right? They're doing the backups for the customer. The customer is just doing what they do to make money. They're not focusing on their data and their backups. They're just using an MSP. But there is a client portal for those customers who do need a little more hands-on. They want to make sure that their service provider is doing what they say. They want to be able to see their monthly bills. Maybe they even want to do some of this central management and deployment of the Veeam agents. So there's a lot of flexibility for customers depending on how involved they want to get with their data protection. We see the Veeam Availability Console in the middle. So this is, something that is installed on a Windows box, and there is a web UI in which you would log in. And then finally, we see our RESTful API. So third-party applications would be supported, whatever kind of API, get, put, delete commands that you have, and we have a Swagger web UI to kind of help you out with that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that really excites me, and that's Veeam Cloud Connect Replication. Now, Veeam Cloud Connect Replication has been around, I believe, for at least a few years, and it's not replication in terms of a copy of a backup. Veeam's replication is taking a full disk, a VMDK or a VHDX, and replicating that VM one-to-one onto another production host. So these are powered off VMs ready to be turned on in a moment's notice for true business continuity. Now, with Cloud Connect, that is done with another service provider, someone like phoenixNAP, who's definitely been doing this for quite some time. And in the olden days, we had to take care of the networking with Veeam's own internal processes, which, it does provide you some basic functionality, layer 2 connections between sites so that, all the VMs appear to be in the same subnet, or even full site failover, being able to RDP into your machines. One of the problems there is visibility. So if you think about a service provider who has a VMware data center and a customer who has the same, and the customers are replicating their VMs to the service provider's vSphere environment, they don't have any visibility into that, right? They're leveraging their service provider and assuming that their service provider is taking care of everything, which they probably are. But now we're introducing Veeam Cloud Connect Replication for vCloud Director. Now, this is huge because now service providers can, create org VDCs for each client. That client can not only back up VApps, the child VMs that make up that VApp, but they can also target this org VDC and log into their VDC and see those powered off virtual machines. So now they're getting a little more visibility into their replicated environment. They can see those machines. They can see the state of those machines. They can even turn them on manually if they needed to. And best of all, you get NSX Edge gateway capabilities. So rather than Veeam's, kind of limited networking capabilities, with vCloud Director and Veeam Cloud Connect integration, we can now specify exactly the kind of networking setup you need, whether it's multiple VLANs, different port groups, all that good stuff can be mirrored to the service provider. So this is a huge, feature that Veeam has just come out with in our latest release. That's all I have on my side. I appreciate everyone. I'll turn it back over to William. Thanks.
All right, guys. As a service provider that's been working with Veeam, for 5+ years now, this is probably one of the most, not revolutionary for us so much because we had to build solutions around it, but for our customers, right? Being able to leverage Veeam to natively replicate to a cloud service, and fail over and have full control of that environment, leveraging awesome security technologies like NSX. People think of NSX as a networking technology, but from our perspective, it's probably more a security technology than it is a networking technology. It does some great network voodoo, but the types of policy and segmentation that you're able to create leveraging that component of VMware is pretty intense. So we try to wrap this all up into a nice big bundle for everybody. We look at ourselves as effectively a shopping mall of infrastructure. You're able to come in and build and design and take the things you like and leave the things you don't like, right? And it's not forced into some overt solutions conversation where we try to say, okay, come over here and we'll take care of everything, and you can just pay this bill that we tell you is a good price. We're really trying to take that public cloud mentality and deliver it in an environment that breeds choice. And we think that through choice of infrastructure and delivery model and physical versus virtual and software defined versus traditional network, having those choices lead to a more cohesive cloud and hybrid cloud experience with an on-prem environment, which allows you to more easily control and secure that cloud service because it is more compatible with what you've been doing for years, with the tools that you've been leveraging for years, versus a hyperscaler that is, do it their way, and only their way, because that's the way you can build hyperscale, right? That the only way to build that type of scale is to force everyone into a box. And not everyone deserves or needs to be forced into said boxes. Our security focus and our capabilities around backup and disaster recovery make us different. They differentiate our organization, whether you're a partner or an end user, from other services that exist out there in the market, and specifically against public clouds and hyperscalers, right? And really kind of tying all that together, the best of breed solutions that you're used to, the portability of that data that you have already, and bringing that into an OpEx model can be very, very attractive to a lot of folks. So if you want to learn more, you guys can visit our website. There's a ton of information there about Data Security Cloud. I hope everyone found this information valuable. I'm going to take some time for some questions. If anyone has any questions they want to throw out there. And other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and hope to talk to you soon. All right. No questions. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.